IKIMfm, inspirasi utama anda. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to our dear listeners of IKIMfm. Welcome to a brand new episode of the season 5 of the great works of the Muslim world. As we know for now, we in this show, we look at the timeless wisdom of Islamic teaching. I'm your host, Patricia Afrina. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for listening to us from wherever you are. Either you are listening to this through radio or even through our social media pages, Facebook and YouTube. And in this episode of Great Works of the Muslim World, we would like to look at one of the most significant contributions to Islamic theology, kitab Qawā'iḍ al-ʿaqā'iḍ, or the Book of the Principles of Beliefs by renowned scholar Imam al-Ghazali. And in this book, it is part of his magnum opus Iḥyāʻ ʿUlūm that gives a brief yet profound exposition of the essential elements of Islamic belief or Aqidah. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the man of the show himself, Dr. Muhammad Husni Muhammad Amin, the fellow at IKIM Center for Science and Environment Studies, KIAS. Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Patricia.
How are you, Doctor?
I'm good. Good to see you again.
Yes, Doctor. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. We are finally back for the 5th season of Great Works of the Muslim World, Doctor. So, before we go into the topic itself, Doctor, perhaps can you share a little bit, perhaps your ambition or your expectation for this season of the program?
Yeah, thank you, Patricia, for inviting me again to fill in for this. I don't believe that it's 5th season already. Oh my God, that's 5 years already. So I've been planning since the end of last year. I've been planning a whole lot of books for us to discuss in this 3 months. I think it's about 13 episodes.
13 episodes,
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the formula that I've began a few years back. So each season I divide into several categories. We talk about epistemology, we talk about Sufism, we talk about, and then we go dabbling into some areas of science, astronomy, even psychology, and then a touch of philosophy, science. And then we also talk about mathematics and engineering. Remember, we talked about how Ibn Sina and Al-Biruni interacted with one another.
Yes.
And then we're going to touch about jurisprudence. And then maybe one more Sirah book. And then I'm not sure. Can't remember if we've talked about Muqaddimah before. I think
we did.
I think we did
one episode on that.
Yeah, I think it's on history. So I think what we're gonna do this time, maybe I'll pick another history book, and then we'll go a little bit on literature. Remember last time we talked about the 1001 Nights.
Yeah.
Collection of it's an anthology of stories, and then we'll have something. Yeah, we'll definitely have more than one work in literature.
Yeah.
So I think if some of the books, I'm planning also to introduce great works from the Islamic world. Last year.
Yeah.
Last season, we've talked about Islam and Secularism by Professor Said Muhammad Naqib Al-Atas.
Yes.
So I think I will delve into more of the classical works in the Malay world in that regard. So there's the plan I just laid out for this season.
MashaAllah, I'm sure we have a lot more to expect for this season. So, Doctor, going straight forward into the conversation, as I mentioned just now, our topic for today is Imam al-Ghazali's Qawā'iḍ al-Aqā'id, which is the book on the principles of beliefs. It is one of the Imam al-Ghazali's significant contributions to Islamic theology, and it offers a concise yet profound exposition on the core tenets of Aqidah, that is the creed of Islam, and it is the second book in his magnum opus, the 40 book Iḥyāʻ ʿUlūm al-Dīn, which is the revival of the religious sciences. So can you explain to us in further about the significance of this text?
Yeah. Being the second book in the 40 book of Iḥyāʻ, it is a crucial part of Imam al-Ghazali's work. And I think last season we've talked about the first book, Kitabul Ilm, and also we've touched a bit on his Muqaddimah to Iḥyāʻ, explaining why he wrote such a hefty book, which became his magnum opus. He explained that Iḥyāʻ is divided into 4 quarters, and then each quarter dealing with different aspects of life and faith. And then the first quarter is the one that includes Qawāʻid al-ʿAqāʻid, being the second book of the Iḥyāʻ ʿUlūm. And this book provides a detailed exposition on the creed of Sunnism. Okay, the articles of faith, what is essential for a Muslim to believe, for him to remain a Muslim. Okay, and then but the emphasis here is on the unity of God, what we call Tawheed.
Unity of God.
Yeah, on the oneness of God, Allah Ta'ala, and the attributes that distinguish God from His creation. This term in Islamic theology is called ma siwallah, meaning other than God, it is creation. So in no way that a creation can be identified with God.
Yes.
All right. So in this book, Imam Ghazali meticulously he outlines the fundamental beliefs, aqidah. Qawāʻid. Al-Aqāʻid. Aqāʻid is the jama', the plural of aqidah, meaning the articles, referring to the articles of faith, articles of aqidah. Aqidah itself from the word aqada, meaning to tie. To tie something, to tie a knot. So aqidah is something that you tie, or something that you tie yourself to, so that when you are tied with it, then you are bound by it. So you believe it, you hold on to it, and everything that you do is bound by that belief.
Is that bound to the religion?
Yes, bound to the religion. Even if you read Richard McKeon, he wrote an article called Philosophy as the Agent of Civilization. And Richard McKeon is the translator of the works of Aristotle, a philosopher. But he says that, in the English dictionary, if you trace back the etymology of the word religion, you get to the French, and then to the Latin word religio.
Religio.
Yeah. Religio or religiocare, meaning something that you bound yourself to. The laws, rules, regulation. So by binding oneself to these things, out of it, religio, you become a civitas, a citizen. And from there, then you can, whatever that you contribute, that becomes civilization. So in this sense, we find something that resonates, because first we have Dīn, because Dīn signifies dain, which is your indebtedness to God. Why are you indebted to God? Because He is the one who created you.
Yes.
So you bound the gift of existence. This is the gift or debt. If you, it depends on how you look at it, actually.
And it doesn't mean a sense of being grateful that we are being born.
Correct.
Being created.
Exactly. So because if you are someone who is grateful, then you regard it as a gift.
Yes.
But if you feel that you are duty bound to honor this gift, it is a debt that which you must fulfill by fulfilling the obligations of the. It's a
sense of responsibility.
Yes, it's got to do with that, because it's a contract between creator and creation. So aqā'id is aqidah. When we believe in this, it forms our worldview. Then we know that we are a creation of God. We are bound by Him. So that is what aqidah is all about. But nowadays, when people talk about aqidah, the term is becoming an archaic term. People don't seriously think about the consequences of that. So that's why, like the royal professor, Professor Said Muhammad Naqib Al-Attas, he restates this, saying that it is the worldview, is the ru'yatul Islam lil wujud, meaning the worldview of Islam, the worldview that Islam projects, being the vision of a reality, which transcends our empirical experience. When we see a chair, the way that a Muslim sees a chair is different than that of an atheist, for example.
How is it?
Because Muslims, we know that the chair has a designer, a manufacturer.
Yes.
And then this manufacturer, he couldn't have created it from nothing.
Yes.
He gathers all the things, the materials, the metal, the fabric, and then the wheels, and then he assembles it. But these things, he got it from other manufacturers, other makers, which ultimately from minerals, and then ultimately comes from the earth. And who created this earth is through the long process of the creation of the universe. Then we attribute it finally to God. But the atheist, although he is forced to admit the same, that the chair came from a manufacturer, and then this manufacturer assemble all the necessary materials, and the materials necessary come from earth, he denies towards the end, he denies that the universe has a creator ultimately. Right? So that's how a worldview works. So the way that we act is translated from our worldview. If we know that the chair has a manufacturer and it has an owner, so therefore we cannot do whatever we like with the chair that we happen to find, in a place.
Yes.
Because the owner has rights over it, and we cannot do as we like.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the way, coming back to, that's a little bit of a digression, but just to explain on the etymology of aqā'id. But coming back to the book that we want to talk about today, it is where Imam al-Ghazali outlines the fundamental beliefs that every Muslim should hold, right? And ensuring that these beliefs are firmly rooted in the hearts of the believers. So it's not blind belief. Islam is a rational religion, because it recognizes that you are a spiritual creature, endowed with rationality, with reason, and it proceeds from something which God has created in every one of us, which is the aqal, the intelligence.
Yes.
And then this Imam Ghazali has adequately explained in the previous book, al-Ghazālī, which we have discussed last season.
Yes.
So the significance of this particular book, Qawā'iդ, lies in its comprehensive approach in explaining the core tenets of Islam, the arkanul Islam wa arkanul Iman, the pillars of Islam and the pillars of Iman. But the way that Imam Ghazali writes it, he will start off with his muqaddimah, explaining that God created all these things, therefore we as his creature, we have to pay him gratitude, and then he will quote some relevant Quranic verses, and then support it some more with hadith, and this is why we know him as a faqih, somebody who is well versed in the religion, who has very good understanding of what a religion is all about. And then, but the way that he explains this in this book, he makes it accessible and easily understandable for all Muslims, regardless of their level of knowledge. So some people say that Iḥyāʻ is not for the masses. Some say that it is for the masses. So which is which? I say that this is his sincere effort. Remember last time when we talked about why he wrote Iḥyāʻ Ulūmuddin? This is after he has undergone some period of convalescence, where he withdrew from society to find himself, to find answers to really higher spirituality. So I say, because even the Quran is the word of Allah Ta'ala.
Yes.
It is a high form of communication from the creator to creation.
Yes.
And it is because it is the words of a creator who understands all his creation. So therefore it appeals to the most intelligent of beings, to those who have of the lower kinds. I mean the lower kinds of intelligence, regardless the various levels of Muslims, they will be able to gain something out of it, even though they will misunderstand it, but there will be some good that they will gain from it. Okay, so I think Imam Ghazali understands this. So therefore, the way that he writes the Iḥyāʻ, so that it will benefit even the common people, the lay people. Yet the most intelligent people, the scholars, the philosophers, the intellectuals, will gain something from his book.
So everyone can read it.
So everyone can read it. Yeah, you don't have to be a specialist. Compared to his other works like Tahafut Falasifah, that's where he refutes the philosophers. Then you have to have that philosophical vocabulary to make sense of what he's talking about. Or even Mishkatul Anwar, which is a very high metaphysical system which he is expounding in that book. So you need to arrive to a certain level of spirituality to be able to get it. So also by writing the Iḥyāʻ, by writing this Qawāīd al-Aqāʻid, Imam Ghazali aims to strengthen the faith of believers and guide them on the path of righteousness. So that's a little bit about the critical importance of this book.
MashaAllah. And going further into that, again, you mentioned just now that, as you mentioned about the meaning of Tawheed, which is the oneness of God.
Yes.
And again, as we know that the significance of this book is that of it being the core tenets of Aqidah, which is the creed of Islam.
Yeah.
And of course, it focuses around being the attributions of God. So can you explain further about how does the Qawāīd describe the attributes of God, and why are they important for believers?
Yeah. So this book it describes God's attributes, sifat Allah, in great detail. It highlights his transcendence. Yeah. He is al-Quddus. He is transcendent. He is living. He has power, and he has knowledge. Yeah, this hayat, qudrah, ilm, and then he has will, irada. He is hearing, and he has sight. He is sama wal basar. He sees and he hears. And then he has also speech, kalam, right?
Yes.
And he does things. There's this Arabic song that talked about Wallahu yaf'alu ma yurid. He does what he intends, right?
Yes.
So it is in contrast with what the philosophers believe as God. For example, the philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, they talked about, not God, but they talked about somebody, something that is called the prime mover.
Prime mover?
Yes, prime mover meaning there exists a supreme being. He contemplates upon himself, then he produces what they call as the first sphere. And then the first sphere contemplates upon himself and produces the second sphere. And then so forth until the 10th sphere. So the 10th sphere is being the imperfect copy, or the imperfect, how shall we say, emanation of the first one. The 10th to the 10th level, being the most imperfect. That is this world. So we are saying, they are saying that you look at the color red, you know that there are different hues of red.
Yes.
But in the first level that I spoke of, there is a concept of red which nobody has seen, being the perfect, the most perfect red.
The most perfect red.
But we now nobody has seen it. What we have here in this world are the imperfect hues of the color red.
It's like bounded by some, I believe, some sort of limitation.
Yes, because this world is very limited.
Yes.
But the difference is that between that conception and the Islamic conception is that the lack of will. There is no irada. Because the first prime mover, when he contemplates, he didn't intend for the second one to be created, or the second, or the third, the fourth, and the 10th. So it means that he does whatever in the 10th sphere, which is this world, he doesn't know us particularly. He knows that there is a concept of human being, because he created it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know a human being named Batrisha Afrina, or a human being named Husni.
There's no specifically.
No particulars. So he doesn't know. So it means this God, not only he doesn't intend us to create, he doesn't know that we existed.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like I would say like ripple effect. Does it have something to do?
Yeah. Okay. So the last ripple is the imperfect copy of the first one.
So this is the last ripple.
Yeah. So in the Aristotelian universe, this prime mover, what they call God, is really to them he's the perfect being. For us, he is the most imperfect because he has all the imperfections. Not knowing, not willing, not powerful, not even living maybe. They don't know him and they cannot learn anything from him. Even his name they don't know.
Oh, okay. But they just know that there's
they know that there is an idea of a supreme being.
Okay.
All right. So here Imam Ghazali flesh it out for us, create from arguments from the Quran and the Hadith, and also the athar of the Prophet's companions, detailing this. So these attributes are essential for believers as they affirm God's uniqueness, that He's not like us. We borrow from Him.
Yes.
His omnipotence, meaning He knows everything and He is all powerful. Even and one more is omniscience, meaning He knows everything. His knowledge is limitless.
Yes.
But actually, for us, when we say that His knowledge is limitless, we kind of imagine that there's a without limit. This goes on and on.
Yes.
But actually, it says that it is God who decides what is knowledge and what is not.
Allah.
Does that fry your brain yet?
It's like creating that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can say that He creates objects of knowledge, so they become knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, because He is the one who determines that. So that's why we say, when we say He has infinite knowledge, it doesn't mean that the knowledge is infinite like Him. Rather, it is His attribute of knowing, and He creates the objects
He
of knowledge.
created the knowledge.
Yes, he created knowledge. What is knowledge?
MashaAllah. And going further a bit, going back a bit, just now we talked about the structure of this book, but it was quite briefly.
Yeah.
Can you share with us about the structure in details and how does it differ from any other book?
All right. So yeah. So like I said, this book is meticulously structured to provide a comprehensive understanding of Islamic beliefs. And then Imam Ghazali divides the main content is divided into sections and subsections.
Yes.
So each of these address specific topics regarding to the articles of faith. The things that I've just given you taster, right? So for instance, the first section deals with the creed of the Sunni, what constitutes Sunni aqidah, and then he goes on to talk about the sifatullah, the attributes of God. Like I said before, transcendence, life, power, knowledge, will, hearing, and so forth.
Yes.
And then the section 2, he talks about the importance. This is okay for the previous section that I spoke of. These are mostly building on the theoretical understanding. Okay. But the second section, it goes on to practical, because Muslims, being the Muslim thinker that he is, they don't differentiate between theory and practice, because whatever in theory will be translated into practice.
Yes.
Not like the Greek philosophers, where they differentiate between what they call theoria and praxis. Which we know today as theory and practice. So what's in theory doesn't necessarily translate into practice.
But that one is
for the Western, for the Greek thinkers.
So any ideology can be anything.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it will work.
Yes. You can think about all you want in theory, but it doesn't necessarily follow.
But for Islam, it has to work.
It has to. Right? So here is, so we don't believe that even belief, meaning even when you believe, it's already counted as work. It's already counted as practice. You're a Muslim, your very being. Well, that's why some scholars disagree that when people say Islam is the way of life, because they say Islam is the way of being. Because Iman itself is three parts. One is what do you call it? Belief in the heart.
In the heart.
And then you utter by speech.
Yes.
Okay, utterance of speech. And then the third one is what do you call the last part is amal bijawari. You prove it through your actions.
Through actions.
So these three constitute iman. So that's why a person who says something but does something else, we have a term for it, which is munafiq, which is a hypocrite. All right.
So it's not just a matter of believing, but also even what you say.
Yes. Your action constitute your speech, and action also constitute what is in your heart. All right. So speaking of that, that's why Imam Ghazali in the second section he stresses about early religious instruction, and then he outlines the stages of belief.
Stages of belief.
There are stages of belief, which is related to the stages of certainty. What we call as ilmul yaqin, ainal yaqin, and haqqul yaqin. Ilmul yaqin meaning you are certain, but you have not seen it. I mean, when people say to you, there is a fire, and so many people tell you that there is a fire somewhere. And you think that it's impossible for them to agree together just to tell you this lie, because so many people report the same thing, but you haven't seen it. So that constitutes ilmul yaqin. And then you saw it, and then you begin to see there's a fire, there's a factory that is on fire. That is ain al yaqin. But you can't make sure if that is really a fire or just smoke's coming out. Right?
Yeah.
But you see it. So when you go closer, then you begin to feel the heat.
Okay.
You see the fire, you see the smoke coming out, and you feel the heat. That is haqqul yaqin. So same here with regards to iman. So most of us, we already have ilmul yaqin regarding, when the text tells us there is a God, and this God is one, and His name is Allah.
Yes.
But you have never seen Allah.
Yes.
Right, much less talk to Him, right? But some of us has that experience. They can feel it.
Feel it in the heart.
Feel it in the heart. So it's that's where iman takes roots. So no matter what you do to them, you can promise them riches, you can test them, you can torture them. But they will never recant from their faith, because of disbelief.
MashaAllah. And going further into that, we would like to still talk on the concept of the Qawāʻid.
Yeah.
What role does Qawāʻid suggest for religious instruction and the stages of belief in a believer's life?
Yeah. All right. So how do we create this? How do we ensure that this faith takes root in a believer's heart? This is where Imam Ghazali talks about the importance of religious belief at early age. At early age, as early as 3, 4. So that's where we call it you drill instruction, meaning you don't have to explain it, but you drill. You make sure that these are the things that the child must know.
Just exposed to the
just expose to them to the text, and teach them. We have Allah. Allah is our creator. But at that point, you don't need to explain in detail, because that will come later. At the small stage, what you call as rote memory learning. Okay, it's like how you like you teach ABC.
Yes.
Or 1, 2, 3. You don't have to explain why this is A. B. Just pretty much expose as
like the original root of
A for apple, B for butterfly, right? Okay. So that the children memorize the creed and gradually understand its meaning as they grow older. Because when they come of age, the thing is already within their memory, within their vocabulary, and then they will grow to understand it. This is how the human mind works. It's not what in the West they call it tabula rasa, meaning a clean slate. No, but it is something that you progressively instill, and as the intellect grows, then it becomes stronger. It becomes more systematized and structured, that it's able to take in. So that's what knowledge. What we call in medicine, there's a term called intussusception, meaning when you eat something, you introduce something to your body, isn't it? It's not part of your body, but but the body knows to digest it, break it into the simple sugar, the simple proteins, and then it reconstitute it back from. Imagine you eat a steak, which is beef. And then the body, when you eat it, the body digests it, breaks it into proteins, and then reassemble it to become your human muscle. And your human muscle is not like the muscle of the cow. It's a human muscle, right? So this is an amazing thing that human body does.
MashaAllah.
But it's the same thing with the intellect. It is able to take in, process it, and integrate it in the worldview. All right. So this process involves committing the creed to memory. You memorize it, understanding it, believing in it. By giving examples. Examples like the chair. You say to the child, you see this chair. There's a creator. There's a manufacturer behind it. So when you see the world, it is inconceivable that this world can come about without a creator. That's sort of analogy that you give to the children. Okay, so and then Imam Ghazali, and then he says that through this process, then the child will eventually become certain, achieve certainty, and then he will accept it. It's not something that goes against reason. It is reasonable. It is
have
rational.
to make sense.
Yes. And but Imam Ghazali talks about he warns against at this stage introducing the child to argumentation and speculation. But rather he advocates that iman is nurtured through reading Quran, through studying the tradition, the hadith, performing the religious duty. That's why as early as 4 or 5 you teach the child to pray.
4 to 5.
4 to 5, 6.
Yes.
Teach to pray, and by 7 you should order the child to pray.
Yes.
By 10 you should discipline the child. Right, and then to associate them with righteous individuals. This is what parents must actively do. As parents are the governors of their own household, they must take care of who their children mix around with. They are responsible for that.
Their friends.
Yeah, this is because I think there's a saying attributed to Sayyidina Ali. It says that the soul is a thief. It takes on from around it. So if you mix with good people, then you will become good. If you mix around with bad people, then you will take on evil qualities. So because we are the product of our time, the product of our society, the product of our groups, the product of our family, right? So this gradual and systematic approach that Imam Ghazali talks about allows believer to internalize their faith deeply, making it an integral part of their identity. So they know themselves, they are rooted in their tradition. So this gives them purpose in life. You compare to other communities that don't have these things. They are more prone to secularization, which results in their loss of identity. So these people, they become very rootless. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know what they are supposed to do in this world, and they don't know if they're going to end up where they're going to end up after they die. So these are the roots of existential crisis, which is it can manifest as symptoms in psychological symptoms. It can contribute to suicidal tendencies.
And it can quite prominent if you see in the Western societies, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. So also on destructive behavior. If you talk about, we can mention some of that. So that's how Imam Ghazali talks about religious instruction and the stages of belief.
So this shows the importance of a childhood.
Childhood education. Yeah, imagine that.
Because it will shape the things that we expose to our children, the things that they learn, the people that they surround them with will influence their future, will influence of who they will become once they're grown up. And as we are reaching the end of this conversation, to conclude, your perspective, how is this book relevant in modern times?
So I think this book remains relevant in modern times because it provides a comprehensive framework for understanding and practicing Islam as a comprehensive religion, and the detailed exposition on God's attributes helps believers maintain strong and unwavering belief. And then the emphasis on early religious instruction and gradual understanding ensures that this faith, this belief, this certainty is deeply rooted and resilient. It creates resilient individuals. They are not prone to temptations. They are not prone to corruption. You think about how when I say that corruption, because they know that the evil consequences that it will have not only on society but also to their souls, and then these consequences also echo in the hereafter, meaning it will be forever if they start doing sins. So that naturally you don't need to be you don't need laws to become a good person. I mean, laws are actually for people who make offenses in society. They cause harm to society. But people who operate this from a worldview level, they are not attracted to commit these offenses or sins, and then they cannot be tempted into corruption, into bribery. So this is actually the government should support this, because it's cheaper than treating drug addicts or putting criminals into jails or prisons. And then and this world where beliefs are constantly challenged, the principles outlined in this work in Qawāʻid, it offers a timeless guide for nurturing and preserving belief. And then I think what more now is the year 2025. The generation that will be born in this year, they will be called the beta generation.
Beta generation.
The beta generation. They will not know a world where it didn't have advanced technologies like AI or robotics. They will live not knowing that there had been a time when we didn't have these things. So their education will be different than the education that we receive in our youth. So but going back to this tradition roots us firmly in the religion, and it makes good people, good person, more good than a good citizen, for example. You can have somebody who is a committedly a good citizen who abides by the law, but on a personal side, he could be the jerk, the somebody who is rude to others, right? But and people who is hated by others, but technically they will be still abiding by the laws. But by having this faith, this rooted belief, then we can learn to live with each other better as human beings in a human society, I suppose.
Yes, inshallah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Doctor, for
Most
your
welcome.
insights on today's sharing.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, I learned a lot from your sharing today, not just specifically on the kitab of Qawāʻid, al-Aqāʻid itself, but also we learned about, you talk about the Iman just now, the Tawhid, and it gives us a better understanding about our religion itself. And as we explore Imam al-Ghazali's Qawāʻid, al-Aqāʻid, as we have seen, this ageless literature not only provides a thorough explanation of the fundamental concepts of Islamic thought, but it also provides a practical advice for cultivating faith throughout life. So in here especially mentioned that it started at the very young age, right, childhood, expose them to the religion, about the about God, the concept of God, about the oneness of God, and its contemporary relevance serves as a reminder of Islamic scholarship's eternal beauty and wisdom. So if you have any questions or would like to share your thoughts on today's sharing, you can leave it on the comment section of this airing on Facebook and also YouTube, or you can simply leave a WhatsApp at 01129004004. So thank you again for listening to us, and also thank you, Dr. Husni, for your sharing on today's conversation.
My pleasure.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So to our dear listeners, thank you very much for listening to us, and don't forget to tune in to us next week for more conversation. So stay tuned to IKIMfm, inspirasi utama